Happy Tuesday morning, everyone. Yes, at least we're not halfway through the month of May, but we're working our way through it. And this month is Mental Health Awareness Month, which is why I picked today's topic so that we can talk a little bit more about mental health because it affects all of us. Even those who may not think it affects them, it affects them. So before we get started, I want to start off with check in on those around you. Check in with those who they went through something over the past year, the past month, even the past week. It could have been a couple years ago. It can be a medical issue, a family issue, work. There's so many different things. We go through it. And at the time, we get all the support when people find out about it. But then over time, we start to put on these masks of, yeah, I'm doing fine because we feel like we have to show that we're doing well. And the reality is you may not be doing well. And if you're not doing well and nobody checks on you, it makes life difficult. So if you know somebody that's gone through some sort of a trauma, some sort of difficult time, they've gone into the valley of the shadow and you're not sure they came out, check in on them, see how they're doing. And if they say fine, fine stands for feelings inward, not expressed. Agape told me that. Fine is just a catch-all. It doesn't mean anything anymore. You go through the grocery checkout. The cashier's like, how you doing today? Oh, fine. And then you go on to the rest, whatever's next. It's kind of meaningless. So make sure when you ask somebody how they're doing, ask them how they're doing. Really get the truth of it. Because then you know if they really are doing okay or if something's there and they need to talk to somebody, get through it. It's mental health. Check in on everybody. In terms of my sponsors, I always start with my dear sis, Dr. Constance Leland, CJ. And today we're in the midst of our author's call for Grateful Heart Wide Open. We do this together. I mean, she is the queen of publicity, the Netflix of education. And that's what she does, educating everybody around her in so many different ways. And I just love how she does that. I love how she opens doors for others and is there to help them level up. She sees things that others don't. So when it comes to education, not only is she an educator, she has workshops, she has courses. Even on her live streams, she is teaching others topics for each class, each live stream. It's almost like each live stream is a class. And she also has publicity. She's a publicity queen, a publicity maven. She has access to not only her own press release studio, so she can get press releases in all these different industries. She has access to premium magazines as well. So if you've got something, a book, a new project, a new program, you're starting a new business, and you're ready to get the word out, touch base with her, scan the QR code, and have a conversation with her about where you're at, what you're looking for. She will be able to see if you are ready for that step, or she will guide you in terms of how to be ready for that next step. And like I said, publicity. She's got podcasts, radio, TV shows, independent TV shows, and live streams. She is everywhere, and her following, it just keeps growing. It's beautiful to see how she is really expanded. And in many ways, in a short amount of time. She knows how to break things apart and build them better. Another sponsor is the Hounds of Business Community. Collaboration over competition. And here's a group of entrepreneurs. Talked with Mike Aschenbrenner, the leader of the pack. They focus on collaboration. It's working together. How do you find more opportunities? How do you create opportunities together? And just because somebody seems like they're doing the same thing as you, it does not mean that you really have the same audience. I have watched people that from the outside, you might say, these two are doing the same thing, or these three are doing the same thing, but they're not. And when they work together and collaborate, some of the most amazing things happen and come out of those collaborations for projects, for workshops, for trainings. It's amazing to see what they do and how it comes together. And it all began because of the Hounds of Business. And then I have my sis with C&M Consulting. It's great to see how she focuses on HR. She's got the knowledge. She knows how to help an organization stay on top of HR. And she has a leading management and advisory consulting firm that specializes in human resources. It's centered around empathy-driven and heart-led solutions, which is exactly, that's her core. She is heart-led, soul-hearted, empathy-driven, and she knows how to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements while also fostering a culture of trust and workplace excellence. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we need is that workplace excellence where everybody gets together and you really have everybody in a space of belonging. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we've left this open. This is going to close on Friday, though, so it's not much time left to join us. Grateful, Our Heart Wide Open. This anthology is looking at those times that gratitude was, you're grateful for something that happened in the past. Something happened, and that gratitude that came out of it actually pivoted you in a better direction, in a new direction. And your story, when you share your story in this of gratitude, somebody else out there is waiting for it. They are looking forward to read it because they are in a place that may be very similar to where you were. And that gratitude that you talk about, something that happened, might just be the thing that the reader needs to get from a place of stuckness to a place of moving beyond boxes, moving beyond whatever's been holding them back. And it's because of your story. The other thing is, normally we are talking about a word count of a couple thousand to 3,000 words. And we've opened this up for Grateful. We've opened it to be anywhere from 1,500 to 5,000 words, because sometimes you just have a hard time limiting your gratitude when you write about it and everything involved. On top of that, we're going to have 3 to 5 photos within each chapter. This is a take on the previous book that we did, which was this one, Scattered Pages, where we had our authors put in 3 to 5 photos. I mean, and we talk about collaboration. That's what CJ and I do, is collaborate. But we're going to have photos in there, and those photos add to the reader's experience of gratitude and what someone is so grateful for. So I want you to check it out. Our emails are there, CJ's email, my email. You can DM us on LinkedIn, use the word gratitude, and if you're ready to join us, we'd love to have you become a part of our anthology. This anthology is going to be published next month. So we do things fast. The writing occurs 1 month, and the next month we publish. But part of that too is because you're working with me and CJ, and we're doing all the pieces together. Let's see who's here. And Lisa's here. I always love throwing out when I see Lisa. Ladies, when it comes to menopause, Lisa is the expert. If you have any questions, whether you're in it, you're getting ready to go in it, you know somebody that's about to go in it, contact Lisa. Check her out because she knows all about it. And guys, you're not free from this because you get to go what's called andropause. And Lisa, again, knows about it. She can talk to you about it. So check her out. I adore Lisa. I love having her and I love talking with her. Miguel is here, and Miguel is one of our authors in Grateful. And yes, Miguel, I still owe you your edits back. So I'm planning on getting those back to you today. Like I said, when you work with CJ and I on these anthologies, and you can see more of them over here on the, well, as you're looking at me on the right side, those 4 on the bottom, those are from last year. Those are our 4 from last year, and every one of them turned out to be a #1 international bestseller. We never claim it. It just happened, and we're so grateful. Hence our current book. So grateful that we did have that. And Scattered Pages was also an international bestseller. So this is our 6th anthology. I love working with Sis on these, and I love working with our authors on these. And Danielle is here, so I talked about them. What can I say? I've got some of the best sisters anybody could have, and I absolutely love it. But we're going to get into today's topic because this one, it's a topic that needs to be given more space than a month. So it's great that this is Mental Health Awareness Month, amongst other things. I believe it's also Native American and Pacific Islander Month, so that's a shout out to my 2 besties, sisters, CJ and Danielle, who are both Filipino. So mental health. And when I talk about mental health, it's not just a diagnosis. This is our experience of going through a world that doesn't always make space for how we're really doing, how we really feel and truly are doing. So too many people, they focus on that diagnosis, and for many of us, we want to hide the diagnosis because we're afraid of how others are going to treat us, how they might change the way they view us, how they look at us. Yet mental health, it's about how we carry our emotions and how we're relating to others, handling stress, making sense of a world that sometimes feels like it's going crazy. So how we're feeling, how we're doing, this is all part of mental health. And sometimes this is not requiring a mental health diagnosis. If you're not feeling good today, if you're depressed, if you're feeling like you're going into the slide of the valley of the shadow, that's your mental health. And being able to find ways to move beyond it, to not let it be what takes over your life. We want to make sure that that's out there, and there's ways to do that. Um, and mental health, I mean, we can be living with depression or anxiety, and again, diagnosed or undiagnosed. ADHD, bipolar, borderline, all these different things, autism, we live with it whether it's diagnosed or not. It's a part of who we are. And you can't just wave a magic wand and think it's going to go away. In this world, when we're talking about mental health, oftentimes, like I said, we wear a mask. We put something over to cover us so that we look normal, so that society will see us as it expects to see us, no matter how we're doing. And for some people too, they might be doing really well, and they feel like they have to clamp down a little bit. They can't show how good they're feeling because they're afraid of how others are going to see them, view them, treat them. So this is not a one-way street of negativity. You can be going downhill. You can be dealing with depression, with grief, with loss, with so many different things, and you're putting a mask to look better. And at the same time, you can feel like things are going really well, but you're afraid to show others that feeling because you're not sure how they're going to treat you. You're not going to how they're going to look at you. And so you put a mask on to kind of go down a little bit. I wanted to say dumb down, but we also have to kind of think about what words we use when we're talking, when we're speaking, because that can also affect how somebody's doing. So looking all this, when we're talking mental health, this is emotional well-being, how we experience, how we're expressing ourselves and regulating our feelings. There's the cognitive functioning, how we're processing our thoughts, our memories. I mean, it's so easy to get stuck in the past. And then again, our mental health can be pulled down because we're stuck thinking about things in the past. And I like to say, if you're focused on the past, that means you're not living in the present, which is going to make the past much more likely to be your future. Look at the present. Stay in the present. Take each day as it comes. And faith is a foundation for me. So whether you are Christian or not, one of the things that's in the Bible is to focus on today and don't worry about tomorrow, because there's really nothing you can do about it anyway. It's a verse that's in Matthew, and basically God's basically saying, focus today. Take care of yourself today, because tomorrow will be tomorrow. It's another day. There's social connectedness. How do we relate with each other? What's our experience in belonging? And how are we communicating with each other? But belonging, that's a theme I talk about so often because it really does affect our mental health. If we don't feel like we belong and yet we're in a space that we have to be, it's hard to put all of ourselves into it. We're spending a lot of time building walls around ourselves. We're putting on masks to hide something about ourselves. And here's the thing, we're trying to fit in. If we don't belong in a space, we're trying to fit in. If you are trying to fit in, it probably means you don't belong there. It's not your space. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't connect with people in these spaces and hang out. Just don't try to fit in. You've got to be yourself. Each of us was created to be unique. And for some who don't like the concept of how each of us is different, We are. Get over it. We have, and I'm not going to list all the differences because they're pretty freaking obvious. If you just walk down the street, you're going to see people are different, from hair color to how they're feeling. It's everybody's different. What we're going through every day, our experiences are unique. Those experiences are what make us who we are. Finding a space where you can belong, where you can walk in, drop the walls, drop the masks, say how you're really doing, and not be judged, that's a space of belonging. And some of the mental health challenges, though, that we also deal with is depression and anxiety, trauma. And trauma can be so many things. It can be an accident, it can be the loss of a family member or a friend. Um, it can be going through a divorce, like one that I know well. It can be burnout. It can be neurodivergent experiences. I've already mentioned ADHD, autism, uh, sensory processing, how you're processing because of your neurodivergent aspects. Uh, even even when we walk into a space and there's silent pressure for how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to be. Nobody's saying it, but yet we walk into a space and the message we get from everybody is to just keep it all together. Don't talk about how you're feeling because they don't want to know. Or maybe it's not that they don't want to know, they just feel like that's the way it's supposed to be for the culture in that space. And that's not the case. And even with these challenges, we talk these challenges, understand too that some people, mental health has a stigma to it that we need to get rid of. It's a negative stigma. It's a box. I talk about boxes all the time. I don't like being boxed. When somebody finds out about a piece of you, let's say they find out, so I've been diagnosed with ADHD. So now somebody can put me in that neurodivergent box, and then they cherry pick an example that fits whatever narrative they want. That example is then what they use to paint everybody as being the same. And if you're neurodivergent, it's a whole spectrum. If I've already listed how many different, only a handful actually, of different aspects that are neurodivergent. There's so many more. You can't say that somebody who is ADHD is the same as somebody who is has autism is the same as somebody that might be borderline or so many other things, because even those experiences, not all ADHD is the same. Not all autism is the same. Everything is on spectrums. This is not a black and white system. As much as some people want to make the world black and white, it's not. Everything has spectrums to it. And think about, sometimes the best person for a job in the workplace is going to be somebody who is neurodivergent, whose experiences have taken them through traumas that maybe it has something to do, it aligns with what your customers have gone through. Or you look at somebody and uh, I like to use an example of even cerebral palsy, because in that I think that still falls under mental health. I'm not totally sure, but my reasoning for this is because I remember a show in the 90s, and now I can't remember the name of it, but it was a bunch of schoolgirls and they were staying in a home, The Facts of Life. Well, one of the characters that was introduced, I think was after the first year, her name was Jo, and she had cerebral palsy. Now, okay, so maybe I'm sliding into disabilities, but still, the concept is the same. Just because she might speak slower and not move as fluid as others does not mean that she couldn't be the smartest person in the room. She couldn't be the one that sees how to unlock a lot of the problems that nobody else can see because she can see it from a different perspective. This is why we need a diverse workforce, because we can see things differently. Now, another example, and I'll take this one, and I know this one is mental health. If you have watched the movie The Accountant or The Accountant 2, there is a person who is definitely neurodiverse, and they even include a school for the neurodiverse, a place. Yes, this is a movie, but it doesn't mean that this isn't real life either. He sees things differently. He can place the puzzles together differently. He can put the pieces together that don't look like they fit to where they fit perfectly, and he sees what's going on. Now, somebody might look at him and go, oh, he's neurodiverse, we can't have. No, it doesn't work that way. Mental health does not mean you can't do things. And I'm gonna pull you up right now, sis.
Surprise!
Going.
Sorry, I was busy getting Chi Pappuccinos. I'll send you guys the video.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, I'm just kind of flying through. I just even talking about neurodiverse and how you can't look at somebody as being neurodiverse and think that that's a disability, that's a mental health issue that keeps them from being productive, because sometimes it's what makes them more productive. It was what makes them see things from different viewpoints. And I started talking about um, the movie The Accountant, because if anybody's
Yeah,
seen that one, I mean,
yeah,
you look at him and you see he's got his own difficulties going through the day because of whatever his neurodiverse issue is, but that doesn't mean that he can't perform. That doesn't mean that he can't see things nobody else can, put the pieces together, and suddenly find find the trail to who's really the problem person in everything.
yeah. I think also there's truth to like ADHD that kind of paralyzes you. Okay. I mean,
Mhm.
if we're going to be transparent, there are things that you know you have to do, but deep inside of you don't want to do it, don't want to deal with it, don't even want to hear about it. Okay. And the due date is fast approaching, and you're like, I know I have to do it. I really don't want to do it. And also, sometimes you're frustrated because, like, this is not rocket science. And they literally, have all of these things laid out for you. Why you're not able to grasp it? It's not that you're not able to grasp it. It's because you're overwhelmed your senses and you're overwhelmed with things. And then you add your learning styles in there, right? My learning style is visual and kinesthetic. So when people gives me a step by step, like number one, do this, number two, do this, and then there's too many things going on in there, my brain already said, F off, I'm not dealing with it, right? Because I give me a YouTube video and then I will do it. Like but people love to think that the only way to learn is reading text. And so I'm going against that grain literally every day when I have to get instructions on tax, and I'm like, I really don't want to do it, but I know I have to do it. So I think the process of judgment is quick to come for people who don't understand the process. And also, if you have ADHD but you haven't been diagnosed and you really have this negative aspect of what it is, because people talk about the negative aspect of it more than anything at work. Like, okay, you see it on Instagram, you see it in YouTube. Yeah, it's a superpower. But then when you have it, you don't feel like it's a superpower because it's debilitating on projects that you have to do, but you don't want to do. And I think my advice would be to really dig deep instead of outwards and say, like, okay, what is my learning style? Like, how you discover that is just look at how you learn. Do you learn by watching YouTube videos and then doing it yourself, or do you learn just by looking at the pictures? Or maybe someone else is like, maybe you watch YouTube video but you're not really watching the video, you're just listening to it. Maybe someone reads it to you, you learn that way. Learn those things, right? Because that is the key to getting the hump of learning. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like you have to figure out what your learning styles are before you can move on to anything, because then it leads to depression, then it leads to anxiety. Because here's why: when you do a project and you don't do well because you don't understand how you're going to do it, you know how to do it in your brain, you know how to do it, it's just that you don't want to do it, so you don't know how to get there. Then you get fired from your job. Now you're depressed because you have no money. Now you're on the street almost because you just can't. And then you're like, yeah, because I'm dumb and I'm stupid, I just can't figure things out, and I'm lazy, I guess everyone tells me that. Like, you believe what people literally tell you is because the outcome that you're seeing is that, when in reality you need to figure out how you're going to get that hump, because it affects your entire being. It affects the way you look at yourself, it affects your capabilities, it affects your morale, right? So, yeah.
But and we've had this conversation a lot because you can see my learning styles and the things that I need. I can't again, I'm not one that can just read it and get it. Um, but I also sometimes don't have the patience for videos either because it's not talking to me. So that becomes a little bit difficult for me to follow some of those videos because I don't have that interaction in it. Um, and I noticed that when it came to when I was going to Sephora and during the pandemic and I would ask questions, I couldn't learn things from watching the YouTube. I learned things from watching the associates paint on their hands, draw on their hands, and I'm the audience and they're doing it for me. That's how I learned it. And then I learned things better and suddenly my makeup skills just took off because I had that interaction, not trying to follow somebody's what they were doing on a video or read a book. So it's that combination of things.
Hmm. You have to figure out what works for you, because what works for the other people doesn't work for you. You have to look at your learning styles and see, okay, this is how I do it. And also, um, as we take on projects, a lot of projects, sometimes you overwhelm yourself with so many things that you shut down, right? Like, you shut down, and then everything seems to fall on you, and everything on that to-do list is a priority, and everything is due right now. And so now, because of that pressure, you're actually frozen. So now you just walk away and you're like, F it, I'm not doing nothing right now. Like, I can't do it. And so just know that that work is just piling up, like literally piling up at that point. And then you sit down, you're like, wait, what do I do again right now? And you're like, your brain's like, well, you got to do this. That's the background of your head. And then the second background of your head says, oh, wait, you forgot to do this to do list. And then what's in front of you, the person that you're talking to, you're like, hey, did you do this? And you're like, oh man, that's just going on in my head. And so when someone tells you something, you're like, wait, what? You did? I don't remember that. It happens to me all
I
the time. I
I
know
I
it happens to you too because I give you something on the chat. You're like, I don't remember. I'm like, her brain is overwhelmed. I get it because I get them too. I get them too. I'm like, wait, you did? I don't remember. And you'd be saying that's because you have so many to-do lists. So now that we recognize those problems, right? What is the solution? What's your solution?
well, I'll take it one better because this I hate saying this is kind of part of that solution, but when I get to that crunch time to get something done, I can get it done in the crunch time because it's like I don't have a choice. There is no you can't drag it out anymore, and I still end up doing fairly well at whatever it is that I put out. And then once I'm done, I'm like, shoot, I should have done this. I could have done this like 3 days ago and not had to do crunch time where this is all I did. But and maybe it would be better, but it was still good. Um, so there's that I deal with as well because I've seen how I'm cognizant of the time, but this was before the diagnosis too. So now I'm able to get myself to start doing things a little bit earlier to force myself, push myself to um, start some things a little bit earlier than I would have in the past. So they're not quite as on top of each other because I know it. Again, we've talked about it this way too. The box, as much as I don't like being in a box, sometimes we have to know the name of the box to be able to get out of it.
That's what I said. That's what I said at the very beginning. You got to name your box because
It was this is totally that verbiage is basically all yours because that's what you
it
said to
is.
me,
Yeah.
and I ruffled a little bit, but as usual, it's like, yeah, it made sense, and then I just adopt that as well because as much as I hate the name of the box, sometimes we're in a box, but we don't realize what it is. And once we do have that name, so once I can say it, it is ADHD, then I have sisters I can bounce. For number one, I can go to learn the basics because they know more about it than I do, and that helps me to move beyond that space, beyond the box, to understand that I might be phasing in and out of that box still, but I can get beyond it more than be stuck in it.
Yeah. Um, Also, what's really funny is often you actually don't know yourself more than I know yourself. It's hilarious to me. Because I'd be like, how I realized that is like, I would ask you questions that I know you would know the answer because you already have it. And then you froze. You're like, what? What do I
That's
don't know. I don't know. Like you totally say that. And I'm like, wait, sister, this is you. And then you start smiling. You're like, oh crap, you're right.
but see, okay, so that's another piece, and I don't know where it fits in whatever's going on. That's something that oftentimes when I get put on the spot like that, I freeze. Everything goes blank, and I don't know why, but it does. It's and sometimes it takes me just a little bit, and I can kind of start slogging my way out of it and start answering things. Other times, I don't know why a wall goes up and I can't get past it. It's just like you asking the question yesterday of n-
Something
name. It was,
interesting. Hmm.
yes, something that nobody would know about, and I'm just sitting there, and and the only thing going through my head was what I could not say. That's where my head went.
And then Danielle
Couldn't
actually
say.
is saying, You mean something that you two don't know anything about, or you guys don't count, right? Because you know everything. And I was like, yeah, we don't count.
That's why
Okay,
sometimes it's not good for me to be first.
right. I know, that's so true. I shouldn't have done that.
I'm
So
last.
you were on the first square. You were on the first square.
Yeah,
Okay,
I get it.
so I actually, this is actually part of my communication training and psychology, your favorite subject. Um, the reason that people freeze when you ask something about them right away, and you can tell me if this is wrong because I've been teaching this class for a long time, 20 years probably. Um, before even I became a professor, it's the fear of judgment. The first thing is when the spotlight turns inward and people panic because they're afraid that they'll say something wrong or they sound silly or reveal something that makes them very vulnerable. I know I have that moment. You're like, wait, what do I say? What do I say? What? And so my brain starts panicking, right? Also, we have the moment of amygdala hijack. Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay, so basically, it's like when there's a sudden focus on you, the body triggers that amygdala hijack in your brain. And for some people, the default response isn't fight, is actually like fight, flight, just freeze, don't say nothing. And then there's that awkward silence, and your brain's like buffering. Like you think about when you go to the internet and there's this circle of death, you're like, hello, are you gonna fucking open? What's going on? And it doesn't. That's literally your brain. That's called amygdala hijack. It's in your brain. Like it just freeze. Some people have lack of awareness or lack of practice. Either way, right? It many folks spend their lives literally sounding deep and introspective because it's hard work. They've been talking about it. But when someone suddenly asks what drives you or who are you, they experience a mental blank screen. You're like, how am I supposed to answer that? There's so many answers I could take, but where do I start? How do I do that? And you got like 30 seconds to answer that. And your brain is asking all these questions. You're like, this is frustrating. Now I don't even know. Forget it.
Your
You
brain's
know?
faster
Yeah.
than AI.
Yeah, and then the fourth one is perfection analysis. You want to people to want to be have that perfect answer, especially in the professional or like live stream or live Zoom and things like that. The perfectionism creates that bottleneck in the brain, like yeah, and there's too many tabs open in our brain. Like, oh wait, wait, we were talking about nursing, and then we were talking about like trying to keep up, but
Yep.
there's more loading going on, but you're just not fast enough to open that tab in your brain. So that's the perfectionist and paralysis. And then the fifth one is cultural conditioning, meaning like some cultures or generations or the way you brought up, it teaches you humility. You're not supposed to say that because you need to stay humble. You're not supposed to answer it this way because people are going to judge you. So we're always discouraged to put ourselves first, and we're also discouraged to really give your true opinion. You have to calculate what you say because people will judge you. Self description actually feels unnatural or sometimes even stressful when you're like, I'm smart. By saying that, I actually feel uncomfortable when I say that. It's a cultural thing, right? So those five things actually happens when you freeze. So I understand.
Yeah. I the judgment piece is there at times, and sometimes it's that trying to figure out, maybe it's trying to come up with the best answer, if depending on what mood I'm in at that moment too. It's like, oh, I want to come up with something that nobody can beat, or is a total freeze.
Perfection paralysis. That right there is the
Yeah,
problem too, because yeah, the perfect answer. Yeah.
it's that perfect answer, or it's um the first things to come to mind are the things that I don't want to say. And again, Part of that is fear of judgment, fear of how people are going to see you, how they're going to treat you. Um, some stuff some people know, others don't, and quite frankly, this is why I talk belonging so much too, because it is a part of mental health, and it is a part of being able to drop the walls and not have to worry about what you say. I mean, there's still going to be certain things that are not acceptable, but they're kind of obvious not acceptable. But there's other things that, especially when it comes to mental health and other aspects of our lives, that society makes it sound like we have to not talk about it, and that's what makes it so difficult in the work environment to when you basically can't open up about yourself, you're not going to ask those questions of somebody else either, because that's a two-way street. When you start digging deeper with one person, it's got to be a two-way street, not a one-way street.
But you won't know if it's a two-way street until it's too late. And most of the time, from my experience working with a lot of companies since I was 16, but people will always judge you at work. And the people that you think you're so close at work is actually the more you divulge information with them, the more you're going to get vulnerable in situations because they can actually use it against you. Unfortunately, I haven't really found a place that you are 100% safe at work. I have not. Um, I'll be honest with that and transparent. Other than my own company, I haven't feel any safe where I can actually say what my opinion and not fear of judgment. I thought I did, but when ask what you do and they can't get that you're busy, now they feel like, oh, you're just boasting, you're just bragging because you're saying that, and it's really about connection. And I was trying to be transparent in what I do because I just thought people do the same thing I do, but apparently not. You have to do one at a time. I can't function on one thing at a time. I would get so bored, I'd rather just sleep, right? I function that way, and unfortunately that's who I am. And for some people it's an unfortunate, for some people it's a level up. So I would rather hang out with the people when they look at me as a level up rather than a crutch, like, oh, she's just doing too much. It's just too much for me. Don't hang out. Don't hang out around me. It just, and as you grow older, you lose a lot of friends, like friends that you've had in the past. You're still friendly, but you're not close. Um, and at this, there's two sides of the coin. You look at it as a sadness, but also to me, I look at it as part of life and that you can always make new friends. And the friends that you've had in the past is not a loss, it's part of your life. They're not really gone, they're there, right? Even if they passed on. I have some friends who already passed on actually, but at the same time they added something in your life, just like think of your life as a like a flower tree, like the rose bush, right? Every time that you are looking, how long does it take to grow that rose bush? It's the same thing for you. Like you're growing, and then you're blooming, right? You have your moments in your 20s and your 30s that's blooming. The same thing as the rose, like, oh wow, you want to pick it, you want to show it off, like, wow, this is such a beautiful, rose bush. And then after that it dies, it withers down, the same thing as us. And then what, guess what, another new bloom. So think of your friendship as that rose bush, that there's moments where you have really lots of friends, and then it dies down, and then another bloom comes up every season, every spring. The same thing with your life. It's so weird if you look at nature, and if you compare nature to your life, if you pay attention close enough. Maybe I'm bored, that's why I'm like seeing things. I have a lot of rose bush in my garden, guys. It's not me, I can't grow any rose bush, my gardener does. But like, the way I see it, it's kind of nice to see like blooming friendships. Ooh, my brain is thinking again, sister.
Oh,
Blooming
don't worry.
friendship,
I'm There's a
right?
reason I'm writing this one down.
No, because like we could talk about that in a book or a podcast. Like, How does your friendship bloom? How do you keep it alive? What do you water it with? What
No,
kind of vitamins do you add your friendship in? And how do you actually have that connection? Like the three of us literally knows pretty much anything, and we be talking still on bed, no makeup, like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. And you're just, okay, take me to the bathroom. It doesn't matter. We just continue the conversation. And some people probably ask, like, how do you guys get there? Some of my friends are like, how do you guys get there? It's just being open and really just take the curtain down and said, okay, whatever. It is what it is, right? What are some of your thoughts on that?
that's exactly what it is. The To me, it's the fact that there's no judgment.
Hmm.
That's really what it comes down to, is being able to knowing that it's safe to say that I'm not doing well, whether verbally or with even emojis. Um, and it goes for all of us. Being able to call each other when we know that we need whatever it is that one of the others will give, basically provides us, that helps us get out of a stuck position, or is able to lift us up when we've sunk into a not a good state, and yet not judge for being that way, not judge for, okay, so you're not doing good today. You haven't been doing good for the last month. I get it. I know what's going on, but you're still my sister.
Yeah, because we understand. That's another thing too. Like, what I want you guys to do is find people who understand. Like, I think if one of us didn't have ADHD, I don't know if we would be as close, because it's hard to keep up with our brain. And if you have ADHD, you go with the flow. I'm not saying you can't have friends with a neurotypical. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. I'm just saying it makes it easier to have a conversation with someone who can keep up with your open tabs, 50 million open tabs. Literally, because if you're in our conversation, we'd be like, oh my God, that makeup is good. Oh, so what did you eat for what? Oh, I had ice cream. How did Elise do today? Oh, yeah, she had a good day. Oh, did you win? Yes. Oh my God, we totally should celebrate that. So, was there any cute people in there? Yeah. Okay, great. So I was like, yeah, I went to the store today and I had this lady. I'm like, really? What'd you say? Yeah, okay, great. Oh, wow. Wait, did we already do our to-do list? Oh, it's Tuesday, right? Okay. What about who's on Wednesday? Like, we literally have that conversation just going on. And if we
Everywhere.
can't keep up, then it's hard to explain back up, right? Like having my husband in this conversation, he would scratch his head. It wouldn't work. I'm just saying.
And depending on where we're off and running, then it's like, okay, who's got plot going?
Yeah, because sometimes in our late night conversations, I have my epiphany. My brain somehow is always churning. I think even when I'm sleeping.
Well, all of
Um,
us.
and
I
then
I'm the same way.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, write that down because that's a good idea. Okay, what about this? Oh yeah, we could do this, 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 and I'm like, okay, wait, what? Let's do some action, guys. Like, let's do some action, and that's the reason why I think if you describe me in a bottle, okay, how would you describe me in a bottle? If you have to bottle me up,
Explosive.
what?
Do not shake. Do not shake, because that top ain't staying on.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's
Um,
it. It's I mean, that's the other reason why it's like, once one of us recognizes that we're starting to create a plan, we start recording it, because we know how many times have we gone, okay, now you said this. What was that? And I'll go, it's like, um, okay, I'm on this one. What was the one before that? And you go, I don't know. I'm 3 steps away from that already. I don't remember what that is.
you know what's really funny yesterday on the Zoom? right? Because I was like, okay, guys, you need this and this. And I was like, wait, I know the first one. What was the second one? I'm like, I don't know. God knows what I said the second. Good thing someone was paying attention. And Sly's like, no, the second one she said was, I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's what I said.
Exactly.
Oh
If
my
we don't
God.
write it down,
It was,
we may not remember it.
no, it was hilarious. But in all honesty, in terms of mental health, right? Because this is Mental Health Awareness Month, you don't need a million friends to keep you afloat and happy. Even if you just had one friend, guys, just one friend, it makes a huge difference. What is your thought on that one?
That's that's very true. When you have one friend, somebody who believes in you, and is there for you, and you're reciprocating, it makes a huge difference because you're no longer alone. And being able to open up, and sometimes that person is, for those who are married, it's not going to be the spouse as much as you might want it to be, because whatever's going on in your head, you've got to have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of without judgment.
Yeah, yeah, and sometimes also like one friend can make a difference in your life. You don't need a whole bunch of friends.
Mhm.
Um, what's dangerous about that is that like I was watching, I don't remember what I was watching. It was like a movie where this one kid, she didn't know she was adopted, and then her mom got remarried, and then she lived with her older brother. They shared the same mom, just not the same dads, right? And then she got adopted because her real dad or something like that like died or something. And so her brother's been raising her. And then when she turned 13, her mom's like, "Hey, you need to come to London now." And because her mom got remarried again, and now she's like, "Let me go." And all of this time her best friend is her brother. And her mom took her and she's like, "Hey, let's go. Let's go to London." She's like, "No, I don't want to leave my brother. I'd rather stay here if I have to leave my brother." It was like in Thailand or something. And her mom took her anyway, and the brother's like, "Hey mom, you need to take care of her because she's I took care of her since she was 2 when you left us." And it was so sad. I was crying about that. And the brother ended up like trying to call her. So for a whole 6 months it was okay, and then all of a sudden she just stopped talking to her brother, and her brother didn't know what happened, and she got hospitalized, and her mom just left her in the hospital. And then her brother found out he couldn't go to London. He didn't have any money, he doesn't have anything, and she ended up dying of pneumonia. And her brother found out, and he wanted to go find and bury her, and her mom cremated her and just like didn't invite anyone for her burial. She died, and her brother ended up killing himself because he really loved his sister, like took care of him. And so like that's the danger also of like having that just one person in your life, and if they ended up leaving, you end up like there's no hope. So also make sure you open up to others. Like having, I think us for
Yeah,
us is perfect because we have like three trifecta, like we have one, we have two, so it's nice. But mental health is really about learning about yourself, guys. Learn about what your weaknesses, what makes you sad, what makes you happy, what makes you cry, and dig deeper. Right? You're not going to find the solutions to your problem by copying everybody else. You actually are going to need to go inwards to yourself and what you like to do and what is your happiness, and then find it within, and you'll find a friend that's going to be on your side when you are actually ready.
exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. And quite frankly, as you talk about friendship and all that, um, my guest next week, he talks about that all the time because Troy's supposed to be here next week.
Oh, good, 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 good. That's good. I
No
want to see
offense,
that.
post about, do you have that one or two friends that, because that's all you need. It's like,
Yeah.
that's all we need. We have to have that. I know what it's like to go through life without anyone, and now someone that I can just, I know is there.
Yeah. You can't get rid of me that quick. Oh,
Like we've grown up together.
yeah, it's
And
nice.
CapCut's the proof of it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's not, and the good thing is like it's not just online. Like people always say, "Oh, I have a best friend and I've never met her in online." We've met online and to begin with, and then we've met in person a couple times now, 3 times now, right?
3 times so far.
Yeah, 3 times now. So, and that is within a year and a half.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. It's gonna be fourth time in October. You're coming. So, I don't know how, but you're gonna come on October. Because that's important. We're supporting confronting domestic violence for October 5th gala. So yeah, thank you
Yep.
for inviting me today, sister. I wasn't gonna come, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna come. I think this is an important conversation.
It is, and especially this month, it's the time to do it. Um,
Yeah.
and I think too many people, they just see mental health and it's just got the wrong stigma to it. And we need to, that's one of the things we need to do is break that stigma, because when you can break that just for mental health, that's going to open up more opportunities for belonging than separating.
Yeah, true. True that.
Yep. So it's going to be fun next week. I'm lined up for the next 2 weeks, so I'm on that, and it's gonna be a fun month.
Yes, it's gonna be a fun month. Tomorrow we probably should talk about mental health. I'll move someone else too and continue the conversation. But this time I really want to talk about the deep digging deeper on the things that people don't talk about with ADHD.
Hmm.
I think that's what we talk about. I'm gonna move someone tomorrow because I want to talk about that now. So you'll be in it because we get to talk about it. We just do.
That's how we roll.
That's right.
Awesome. All right. Thanks everybody for being here, and I will see y'all next week.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.